All right, in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for the real estate market here in 2023 that will be largely pertaining to my market of Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley, as well as the real estate board of Greater Vancouver, but I will brush on some things that will have an effect on the overall Canadian housing market. My name is Thatagentkelly. I post Canadian real estate content and content pertaining to Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley here where I am based out of. I post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you get any value or entertainment out of these videos at all, I would love it if you liked and subscribed so I could get this content out to more people who care about Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley. As well, if you'd like to have a chat with me about anything, real estate agent, whatever it may be, you can scroll down to the description, click on the link there for my calendar, and you can book yourself right into my calendar for a time that's convenient to chat with me. Anyways, let's get into this video. All right, my first prediction is going to be pertaining to interest rates. So back in 2021, if you told me interest rates were going to go up 4% in 2022, I probably would have called you crazy. And in fact, I think my prediction was that they were going to go up 1.5%. So please do not go make any decisions about buying $2 million homes based on my interest rate prediction for 2023. Now, first off, I'd like to say that trying to predict where interest rates are going to go is blatantly a fool's game. There is simply no way that one person could project what interest rates are going to be a year from now, as predictions and the overall outlook for interest rates will change as the incoming data changes, i.e. inflation. But in my opinion, if you held a gun to my head and make me came up with a prediction, I would have to say that I do not think interest rates will go up any more than 50 basis points or 0.5% in 2023. So I think that they'll go up 0.5% or less for the year of 2023, stabilize them for a while, and then likely seeing interest rates starting to come down towards the end of 2023 in Q4. Now, I don't think we're ever going to go back to interest rates that we saw back in 2021, but I don't think it would be far-fetched to think that we could see an overnight lending rate of 2.5 to 3% again in the next, 2 years. And right now, currently, we're at 4.25%. Now, this prediction obviously can become completely null and void if inflation remains sticky and we have 2 months where inflation doesn't come down at all, or 1 month where inflation actually goes up. This entire prediction can be null and void in literally one rate hike. So this prediction is based on the current data that we have right now, and I believe, or I shouldn't say I believe, but I think if I had to make a prediction, 0.5% is the absolute most that we will see, and possibly even less for 2023. Now, this is even more so difficult to forecast than interest rates, in my opinion. So when we talk about prices, the media loves to say, Vancouver's going to go down 10% in 2023 or something like that, right? But the reality of it is there's so many, not only are there so many different areas within Vancouver that all act in their own certain way, but there's also condos, townhomes, detached, luxury detached. There's so many different markets and so many different areas within these markets that it's really hard for me to just blanket the entire all of Canada or all of Abbotsford or all of the Fraser Valley and be like, this is what's going to happen with prices, because there's so many markets within one market and there's so many product types within one market that all act differently from one another. But we're going to try and do this anyways. So back in 2008, the national HPI for the United States, which is the home price index, went down, I believe, about 26%. And within that 26%, you had some areas down as much as 60% in the United States. And right now, I think Canada's at 17% or 16.5% in total right now, down. So if I had to put a number on this and take a wild guess, because that's pretty much what we're doing right now when we talk about prices, I'm going to take a guess that Canada will go down some more, another 6%, for a total of 23% down on the HPI by the end of 2023. And the reason why I'm picking specifically 23% is because I think it's going to get worse, but I don't think it'll be as bad as 2008 was in the States. I just don't see some areas going down 60% or going down enough to make the overall average across the nation 26% or more, in my personal opinion. Another thing is there's really only 2 expensive markets within Canada. There's Vancouver and Toronto. And everywhere else, homes are actually pretty affordable. And especially areas like Alberta right now, which might even be appreciating, or they're down, 2 or 3% or something like that. But when you have areas like, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, all the territories, places in Alberta where, you can buy a home for 400 grand, 300 grand and stuff like that. The mortgages are much, much less on those purchases, of course, meaning that those areas are much less affected by interest rate increases. And we still have really low inventory. So I think paired with the fact that, people are holding 300 grand mortgages or 250 grand mortgages and inventory is still low in these areas, I don't think that these areas are going to fall very much. Meaning to get another 10 or 15% down on the National Home Price Index, we would have to rely on places like Ontario and Vancouver going down another 20, 30%. And we've already seen 30, 35% in Ontario and Vancouver's suburbs, at least some of them, right? So those areas would probably have to go down another 30% to form that 60% to get to the same area where we were in the United States. But if I had to put numbers to it, let's take another guess. When it comes to the Fraser Valley, I'm going to guess that we see another 5 to 8% come off in prices. And when we're talking about Greater Vancouver, I'm going to guess 3 to 5%, maybe even 3%. Again, this is all super dependent on incoming data. Now let's talk about the likelihood of a market collapse for 2023. So I think there's a few things that are going to prevent this from happening. But first I want to talk about foreclosure. So if you consume real estate content, then 50% of the comments underneath any video about real estate anywhere on the internet are mentioning how everyone is going to get foreclosed on, everyone's going to lose their homes, and we're all going to rent forever and be happy about it. And I don't believe this is going to happen personally. I think there's going to be a very small minority of people that are going to be in trouble in 2023 and possibly be in a situation like this. One of them are people who bought a home in 2021 on a floating variable rate mortgage. So there are two types of variable rate mortgages. There's a floating variable rate mortgage, which means your payment actually changes as the interest rate changes, right? So as the interest rate goes up, your monthly payment goes up with it. And then there's a static variable rate mortgage, which most variable rate mortgage holders are on, is that the actual interest that you're paying within that monthly payment fluctuates. So as the interest rate goes up, the payment stays the same, but the amount of principal you're paying off goes down and the interest goes up. So if you're on a floating variable rate mortgage and you bought in 2021 at high prices with low rates, and now rates have skyrocketed and you have a big mortgage, those kinds of people will be in trouble in 2023. But like I said, this is the smaller minority of existing mortgages. Or I should say a very small amount of existing mortgages. And then there will be people who had to get financing via a B lender or a private loan, which typically those terms are anywhere from 6 months to 2 years long, and then they come up for renewal. So again, anyone who bought in 2021 on a B loan or a private loan could be in some big trouble in 2023. And then there's people who have their conventional 5-year term mortgage who bought in 2018 coming up for renewal in 2023, who either had a series of unfortunate events happen to them in the last 5 years, or they just made a string of really bad decisions. So for everybody else, I don't think you're going to be in trouble for 2 reasons. Number one, if you did not buy your home in 2021, you are still in a large profit/equity position. And if your finances start getting tight, you can just sell the home. And 2, the majority of people coming up for renewal bought in 2018. In 2018, the overnight lending rate was anywhere from 1.25 to 1.75%. Rates today are roughly 2.25 to 3% higher than when these people took out this mortgage in 2018. However, in 2018, home values were roughly 30% cheaper than what they are right now. So anyone that has a mortgage from 2018 has it at a much smaller amount than somebody who would have one right now. And prices are actually 30% cheaper in 2018 from what they are currently right now. I'm not even talking about the peak of the market. Not only that, anyone who took out a mortgage in 2018 was stress tested at 5.25% or 2% higher than the contract rate, whichever is higher. So everyone would have been stress tested at 5.25% in 2018. And currently right now, you can get mortgages at 5% or 5.5%, depending on if you're going variable or fixed. And on top of that, most people have advanced in their careers over the last 5 years. They're making more money, and they could theoretically already afford this mortgage payment 5 years ago. And I actually made a video recently on why I think mortgages could actually get cheaper regardless of what interest rates do, and I'll drop it up there. So you can go watch that one after you're finished watching this one. Inventory. All right, so looking at inventory, the available supply on the like button is super low. I'm gonna need you guys to increase the supply on the like button so I can get this video out to more people who care. So in 2008 in the Fraser Valley, we had 10,000 total listings. As of right now, time of recording, we have about half that at 5,000. And roughly 6,000 listings is a normal balanced market for the Fraser Valley. Now this actually isn't that bad. That's a decent amount of inventory, I would say, and this is why I have the Fraser Valley going down further than I would in Greater Vancouver, because there's more available inventory in the Fraser Valley in comparison to Greater Vancouver. So in the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, we saw 20,500 listings in 2008. And today we sit at 9,500 listings, so less than half of what we had in 2008. And I'd say a balanced market is probably roughly around 15 or 16,000 listings for the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. So we still have a massive inventory shortage in the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, and I expect this to keep prices propped up. Not only that, housing starts are down as of late, meaning there will be less homes coming to market in the next year or two because builders are building less because it's not as profitable and it costs a lot more to do so. And we were already basically building the same amount of homes as we were in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, although our population is much higher now and immigration is at all-time highs. So we were already not building enough to begin with, and now housing starts are obviously going down. So on top of low inventory, there's not any inventory coming, not any new inventory anyways. There could be a wave of listings that hit the market, but for new inventory, there's a lot less coming to market than what we should have for the amount of people that are now coming to this country. So to be exact, the government is planning to let in 465,000 people in 2023. Now, this isn't actually people moving here. A bunch of these people already live here and they're just getting their permanent residency. However, this is always the case every year, and the amount of people that they're giving PR is higher than it has ever been by quite a bit, and this means that the amount of people actually moving here will also be higher than it's ever been as well. And some people say, oh, you know, the people moving here, they can't afford to buy a $1 million home on average. And you may be right. What people don't realize is that new people moving into an area will put upward pressure on housing prices regardless as if they're buying homes or not. And the reason why is that, let's say they can't afford to actually buy a home, they're going to rent to live in a home because they need somewhere to live regardless. The excess rental demand in the rental market will cause rental rates to go up, which means yield for investors subsequently goes up, which means it becomes more attractive for investors to buy investment property, which increases the buyer demand for housing. So no matter what, new people living in an area will always put upward pressure on prices, whether they're buying homes or not. Just because of the simple fact that they are living there will put upward pressure on home prices. So to recap, I don't think interest rates will go up any higher than 0.5% or less, and will likely come down by Q4 2023. I see prices in the Fraser Valley going down 5 to 8%, and I see prices in the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver going down 3 to 5%. And I do not foresee a massive wave of foreclosures. Now, I'm not saying there won't be any foreclosures. I think foreclosures for sure are destined to go up because we've been at ridiculous, like pretty well zero foreclosures in the last 2 years. But I do think that we won't see a massive catastrophic wave of foreclosures, at least not in 2023, maybe in 2024, maybe in 2025, but I don't see it happening next year. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, once again, please do like to help me out, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley, and as well, if you'd like to book a call, scroll down, click the link, book yourself right into my calendar at a time that's convenient for you, and we will see you guys on the next video.